close of a march. He must see that his men are cared for. The officer must constantly interest himself in the rations of men. He should know his men so well that any sign of sickness or nervous strain will be apparent to him, and he can take such action as may be necessary. Again, why is he talking about this? This is Patton. This is, they show in the movie the big scene where he slaps around the guy, he's a coward and all that stuff. Get this guy out of this ward. He had this reputation that he's like abusive. Freaking care about your men. And think about what he's saying here. Like the last guy to move for cover. The last guy to take care of himself after a march. The rations go to the men first. Everything is about the troops. That's what a leader is. Continue. He must look after his men's feet. See that they have properly fitting shoes in good condition, that their socks fit. Loose or tight socks make sore feet. He must anticipate change of weather and see that proper clothing and footgear is asked for and obtained. So that's the last thing that he talks about, is caring for your men. The successful soldier wins battles cheaply so far as his own casualties are concerned. But he must remember that violent attacks, although costly at the time, save lives in the end. So, yes, that once it's the same message he's been giving. Violence, although it seems like it's going to increase casualties, if you attack violently, it will save lives in the end. And that right there is the best way that you can care for your people. Have them ready, have them trained, have them disciplined, and then go on the attack. And this thing is signed G.S. Patton Jr., Lieutenant General, U.S. Army, commanding. So, awesome information from Patton once again. And I've got some more. We may even roll right into. I've got some more Patton stuff to talk about. Because there's some things that people freak out about. He's very flamboyant, right?
Sure.
Let's face it, that's not really my style, right? Flamboyant's not really my thing, right?
Sure.
So he's got some things that we're going to need to talk about, and we will. Perhaps we'll do it next time, but eventually we'll get to it. So, Patton, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater if you don't like those parts of him, because believe me, as flamboyant as this guy was, he was about discipline. He was about taking care of his people, and we can all learn a lot. We can also talk about the fact that, he sometimes didn't play the game. And he didn't get the positions he wanted to, probably oftentimes because he didn't play the game. So we can talk about all that stuff. For now, we're going to hold what we got. Just did some live gigs. And I've done DC, New York, Austin, LA. Everything's sold out. Seattle and San Francisco are still to come, but they're both already sold out. But anyways, it's been awesome. It's been an incredible experience and meeting everyone. And this isn't to ask you to come because they're already done, but I just wanted to say to everyone that came out to them, thank you for coming to them. They were incredible to be a part of. So, and I will schedule some more of them. And maybe Echo will come. I don't know.
Maybe.
Are you going to come to Seattle?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Okay, cool. Sold out. So if someone was just kind of waiting to hear if you were going to be there, too late.
Yeah.
Awesome. With that, Echo Charles, we are trying to be, we're taking advice from General Patton. We're trying to be more disciplined. We're trying to be more courageous we're trying to be physically hardened. We're trying to be better. Mm-hmm. What do you know of that can perhaps help us in all those arenas? Echo.
Yes. Aside from sharpening our shovels, we can. All right, we're going to do jiu-jitsu train today. You didn't. I did.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Yep.
You were preoccupied doing various things.
I was actually preparing for this podcast, which is what I have to do.
Yeah.
See,
well, I prepared for this.
No.
podcast,
You press record, which is great.
It's more of a mental preparation, but
Okay.
Nonetheless, I feel good about that. How'd you feel? Be honest. Were you like?
My goal
Was it
was,
bothering you?
I did not make my goal. My goal was to be prepped by noon, come in here, train, shower, record.
Yeah.
That was the plan. Mm-hmm. I did not accomplish my mission. So I had to prioritize and execute. We owe this podcast to our people.
Yes.
We will not prioritize my personal agenda of training above taking care of the troops. The troops expect a podcast.
Yes.
On Wednesday, Tuesday night even.
Yes, sir.
We must deliver. That means I have work to do. I know it doesn't mean anything to you. I know it doesn't interfere with any part of your personal life, any part of your personal time, but I have work to do.
It does. It's just more psychological.
Okay. Well, you keep telling yourself that. I'll be over
Nonetheless,
here grinding.
all right, you're the man.
The grind.
Regular man, of course. And, I only say that because when you came in at the tail end of training, you're ready to,
believe
record
me.
and you're prepped and you're good.
Even the way you made me look, you looked at me in a way that I was like, okay, cool. I can get changed right now.
What is that? What you just said was written all over your face.
Yeah.
Like you came in, there were some people here, boom, Jocko's, here taking some pictures or whatever. And meanwhile, I'm looking at you and you seen me and I seen your face like, oh man, you're training, like you're lucky. And here's the actual funny part. I'm just remembering that part. The funny part is when you walked out on the mat, you took off your shoes, you walk onto the mat. And when you walk out on the mat, I think this is just kind of in all of us anyway. Mm-hmm. It's where you sort of like, you feel like, for lack of a better term, the energy of the mat.
Oh, for sure.
So that's why it feels weird if you have your regular clothes on and you walk out on the mat, you're like, bro, you feel weird. It's not jamming or it's not vibing together, Mm-hmm. So you walked out on the mat. Like the look in your eye, kind of like you were kind of warming up or something.
Like
you're.
Because think of how many thousands and thousands and thousands of times when I take off my flip-flops, my slippers, what we used to call them in Hawaii. Yep. I take off my slippers and go on the mat. It's like, that means something.
Yeah.
It's like when I used to put down my nods on my, on my helmet. You flip down your nods, all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's on. You lock and load your weapon. You're like, okay, it's on. You lock and load your weapon all the time. You do it in your, you're like, okay, cool. This is it. Yeah. So I walk out on the mat, take off my slippers and walk out on the mat.
You felt a little something.
And it's like, and I see you kind of giving off a vibe, right?
Yep. Because you were literally pacing.
Oh,
and here's the
sure,
thing.
right.
We weren't being hostile, making jokes like that kind. It wasn't like, hey, why aren't you? It wasn't that. We were talking about something like for like legitimately normal, but you were pacing out there. Yeah. I was like, I
wanted to freaking train really bad today, and that pissed me off. So
hey, man. That's life. Actually, let's go. Okay, so jiu-jitsu, that's one of the many good things about jiu-jitsu. And I mentioned this before, where it's like so good exercise, so good mentally, physically, like all this stuff. And
it's literally fun.
Yeah, it's literally the fun. Thing. Yeah, like if you come in, and this goes for me, even if I'm like there just to record or whatever, and not to train for real. Like I'm here for a specific reason, not to train or whatever. And I come and I see people training or whatever, I literally feel like I'm missing out. Like I'm missing, how like when your friends go hang out and go do something and you got to stay home and like do homework
like that
or whatever.
Time, for sure.
Yeah. It felt like you kind of missed out a little bit.
I did.
Sorry, bro. It's all good. But to me, this podcast was very good. So I'm kind of glad you did. And the good news about it is Jiu-Jitsu is going to be here. It's going to be here tomorrow. It's going to be here next week.
But I can't ever get this day back of training.
Yeah.
That might have been a little something.
Yeah, maybe.
That I could have learned.
Or maybe next time it's going to be a little something. It's all part of the game. Ups, downs. You don't go every single day.
Almost sounded like a threat, bro.
No, sir.
And it is not too late to train right now, because we will do it.
Not a threat. I'm just saying that's how it goes sometimes.
You said a little something.
I meant learning wise.
Okay.
Nonetheless, hey, it will be here. And actually, which kind of lends support to the point that, hey, not everyone is doing jiu-jitsu right now. But guess what?
They should be.
If you go tomorrow, it'll be there. If you walk in tomorrow.
Yeah. And also, if you walk in and it's your first day and you don't know anything about it, there's other people. Everyone on that mat has been there. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Go get on the mat.
And in fact, chances are, that's a good point right there. Because chances are more people are going to be like new people than advanced people.
Sure.
It could probably, what would you say would be the average if you go on any random, and granted, a lot of times they have a beginner's class, which is even bigger percentage of new people.
I think it's a bell curve.
Yeah, it's like half, right?
Well,
Wouldn't you say half or white belts?
A bell curve. Bottom 10%, like they don't know anything. Or bottom 10%, 3 months or less of training. The middle is whatever, anywhere between 3 months and 5 years. And then there's like the top 10% have been training for, actually at our school is a lot more than, we are a little heavy on the top end. We're heavy on the bottom end too.
No,
well,
maybe, you know what? No, our school is so big, and like, there's the gi part, there's no gi, then it's like where, like the advanced guys.
But I'm just saying, like when I get on the mat, there's so many people that have 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's a bunch of people too that just started.
Right. You know what it could be, and then again, I'm over here just researching it right now in my head, where could be.
That's not research, by the way.
No, not at all, actually.
That's just thinking.
Anyway, when you go out on the mat and you see all our advanced guys, or should I say all the guys that are here that are advanced, chances are you know them. Yeah. So they're like, oh, man, we have a lot of them, you know, whatever. But meanwhile,
I could say the same thing about people that I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's true too.
Because I don't know that guy. He must not ever train before. He could be training for a year.
Right. Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, if someone's training here for a year, I know him.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Unless he's like a different schedule.
Unless different schedule, yeah.
But yeah, I think so. But then you have to think about the belt distribution curve too. It's like super bottom heavy, because as you progress up the belt ranks,
there's
you either progress out. Yes, exactly right. Because you progress out of the belt or out of jiu-jitsu. Right,
okay, so you mentioned gi, no gi. What does all that mean?
Thanks. Anyway, all right. Get a gi, get an origin gi. Everybody knows that's the best gi in the world, straight up factually. You mentioned facts versus opinions. This is a fact, not an opinion. Mm-hmm. Happens to be made in America, along with other stuff.
OriginMain.com.
Yes,
is where we get these things that are made in America.
All this stuff, including.
Are they 100% made in America?
Yes.
What about where the substances that they're made of? Where are those things from?
What, like the cotton that's grown?
Yes.
So they can put it through the loom. To a million different moving parts in the loom, by the way.
Yeah.
And made into the fabric that is woven and then constructed into various items.
Okay. Including gis and including jeans.
Oh, yeah. Jeans.
Boots. T-shirts.
Shirts. And
rash guards.
So hoodies.
Clothing is what we're talking. Beanies.
Clothing.
Okay, so you can get a lot of clothing. Made in America. Best clothing ever.
In the world, factually.
Yeah. How many jeans have I owned in my life? Probably. Okay, my adult life, I've probably owned, let's call it, not a lot. There's not a lot of jeans. Because I would have jeans for like 8 years, right?
Seems about right.
Maybe 8 years is long. But anyways, I'd have jeans for a while.
Yeah.
I probably had 20 pairs of jeans in my adult life.
Yeah.
Now, my jeans, Origin jeans, are the best jeans that I've ever worn. Now, I can't say I've ever worn a pair of $640, what are those called? Like
skinny jeans?
No, I haven't owned any of those. I haven't had any of the
low-rise boot cut.
Yeah, what's the word? Designer jeans. even at the height of designer jeans, which, by the way, at the height of all that stuff, MMA was totally wrapped around that stuff.
Oh, right. Huh.
Like, if you were to find a picture in 2006, 2008 of a bunch of MMA guys, of which you and I both were, there is a high percentage that 50% of the individuals in that picture would be wearing jeans that had non-functional aspects to them.
I think you're right about that.
And therefore they would be determined as designer jeans. And they cost, several $100s.
Yeah.
So even at the height of that, you cannot find pictures of me in jeans that have non-functional aspects. You can only find me in jeans that have functional aspects.
I believe that, yes.
So, check. You can get jeans from Origin that are functional.
Functional, slightly designer.
There's no designer
No
to our
designer.
jeans.